Hello everyone. Welcome back to your channel, Cute Kittens and Puppies. Marlin, the cat who lived as a dog. A story of love and adaptation. Once upon a time, there was a cat named Marlin, whose life began in a way that surprised everyone who met him. From his first day in the house, Marlin found himself surrounded by a pack of dogs who took him in and cared for him as if he were one of them. These dogs did not see him as a simple feline, but rather as a companion, someone who would soon learn their habits and share their life. Marlin, for his part, absorbed every gesture, every game, and every canine habit as if it were the most natural thing in the world. It was not long before he was behaving in a way that no one could have imagined, not like a cat, but like a real cat dog. Marlin is a cat who was raised by dogs and, from a very young age, adopted their behaviors, believing himself to be one of them. He played, barked, and acted like a dog, surprising everyone around him. Integrated into the pack, Marlin participated in games, walks, and showed typical canine gestures, such as running to the door to greet his owners and sharing naps with the other animals. His ability to imitate and connect with dogs made him a special leader and companion. Marlin's story shows that love and environment can shape our identity, breaking down barriers and creating unique bonds between species. From a very young age, Marlin displayed behaviors that distinguished him from other cats. Instead of meowing and seeking his space, he preferred to integrate into the activities of the pack. When the dogs played catch, Marlin did not stand by and watch from afar as a typical cat would. He jumped, ran, and chased balls with the same excitement as everyone else. His ability to blend in with his companions led him to learn to bark, or at least, to try to. Although his sound was not a real bark, it had a peculiar tone that made everyone in the house laugh. This curious noise was Marlin's way of expressing his enthusiasm, an echo of the barking around him. Marlin not only shared games with the dogs, he also imitated their habits. When it was time to eat, he was not content to wait for his separate plate to be served. He sat next to the dogs, watching his owners with an expectant look. He wagged his tail from side to side, in a gesture reminiscent of his four-legged companions, and licked his lips as if he were sharing their menu. This behavior made the family laugh, who could not believe how Marlin had adopted behaviors so alien to those of a cat. The walks through the neighborhood were a spectacle worth seeing. Marlin, equipped with a small leash, walked alongside the dogs, moving in rhythm with the pack. His posture and attitude were not those of a cat who feels obliged to follow the others, but of one who felt part of that group. He observed the surroundings with curious eyes and, from time to time, he let out a purr that was more reminiscent of a soft bark than the typical sound of a cat. The neighbors were quick to notice the peculiar feline and often came over to ask about him, surprised to see a cat who seemed to enjoy a walk with dogs. Marlin's behavior was not limited to walks and games. At home, he behaved in ways that broke with all expectations that someone might have of a cat. When someone came home, Marlin would run to the door along with the dogs, wagging his tail and jumping for joy. This welcoming ritual was as touching as it was funny. It was not common to see a cat react that way, much less one that seemed to compete with dogs to be the first to greet its owners. Over time, Marlin became a sort of leader among the animals in the house. When a new puppy arrived at the home, it was Marlin who first approached him to meet him and introduce him to the rules. The puppy, at first confused by this feline who behaved like one of his own, quickly understood that Marlin was special. The two formed an immediate bond, and the little pup was soon following in his friend's footsteps. Naps became bonding time, where Marlin would cuddle up to the pup, caring for him and providing warmth. For the owners, it was a sight to see how Marlin took care of and played with the new member, showing that his heart was full of love and loyalty. Please, subscribe. Marlin's fame did not stop with the neighborhood. People who visited the house were amazed to see how this cat interacted with the dogs. There was no shortage of anecdotes about how Marlin had helped calm a frightened dog or how he would sit next to them when they heard thunder, offering company and comfort. His presence had a calming effect on the other animals, as if he understood that his role was to be a point of balance in the pack. This ability to connect with his companions in such an empathetic and sincere way made Marlin more than just a cat. He was a true bridge between two worlds that are often perceived as opposites. When the afternoons of play in the yard came, Marlin moved with the energy and enthusiasm of a puppy. His runs were fast, his jumps precise, and his joy contagious. The dogs followed him, and together they put on a spectacle of movement and fun. Sometimes Marlin would take the lead and run in circles, inciting the dogs to chase him. These moments were his way of showing that, although he was different in appearance, in spirit he was one of them. The moments of rest were equally significant. Marlin would lie in the sun with his friends, eyes half closed and ears alert to any sound. His purrs, which never ceased to be special, resonated in a way that blended the best of both worlds: the softness of a cat and the vibration of a miniature bark. These sounds became part of daily life in the house, and for his owners, there was no better melody. As the years passed, Marlin continued to be the center of attention and the source of joy in the house. His owners learned a lot from him, especially about the power of adapting and finding identity in the most unexpected places. Marlin was an example of how the environment can shape not only behaviors, but also the heart of a living being. His story was told at family gatherings and shared with friends, always with a smile and a touch of wonder. Marlin, the cat dog, left an indelible mark on all who knew him. He was living proof that labels don't matter when it comes to love and friendship. Life is a mix of experiences, and Marlin showed that it doesn't matter how your story begins, what counts is how you decide to live it. His days were filled with games, with barks he tried to imitate, and with that unbreakable bond with his canine friends. He was a cat who didn't know he had to be just a cat, and in that ignorance, he found the freedom to be himself, a feline who lived like a dog, and he enjoyed every second of it. If you have any questions or would like to delve deeper into any other aspect of cat behavior or care, do not hesitate to ask. We are here to help you. If you think this information could benefit someone else, share it with your friends or on your social networks. Sharing is supportive and helps us reach more people. Thanks for watching and listening. Please subscribe to your channel. Believe in yourself and never give up on your dreams.